excel, then prevail. I excel. I excel, then prevail. I excel. I excel, then I excel, then prevail.
Hello, my name is Axel, and I'm this time with Ali. And Ali, tell me, who are you?
Hi, Axel. This question is always a very tough question for me, and I think for anybody. When people ask you who you are, your mind can go like you said, how do you identify yourself as? That question today, I identify myself as a man. I should say that. I was born in Iran when there was a war going on. And from there to today, I have traveled with family and without many different places, Europe and America. I am today a Forex trader, and I guess I own my own business. I sell masks thanks to COVID. COVID started and there was opportunities. But when I was in Dubai, I was a fitness model and I was an actor. And prior to that, I've actually dabbled in theater. So I'm one of these guys, I'm 34 years old, that you know, I could not really sit with one thing, and I've gone around different things, and I still can't really identify. Like if somebody asks me, are you an actor? No, but I used to be. And I'm not close to it. But today, with all the situation that's going on, there's just so much things to do and so many other opportunities. So if you asked me this question a year ago, I identified myself as an athlete. Today, I identify myself as a businessman. I'm trying to sell, there's this brand called Merrill that is this super duper textile fabric that I've brought to Abu Dhabi from Spain. And I'm doing that, and it's going nicely.
I want to have this follow-up question with you that I haven't had with nobody before. So you said who are you is a question that you've been asked, and some people I actually have interviewed and they said that this is a question that nobody has asked them. They 50 years old or something like that. And I mean, how often you have had this question asked to you?
When you look at me, I mean, it's no secret. There's nothing about my face that doesn't say Arabic origin. I look like the proper Arabic person, but I've only lived in the Middle East for 4 years. So every other time and everywhere else, I've lived in Canada, I've lived in the United States, in Spain, in Turkey, in France. So this question for me, it always, and I'll tell you something. One thing that if I were to say my brain, my personality and who I am, how I've been programmed to be, I consider myself more towards the American or North American culture than anywhere else. But I look Arabic. So to my friends or to any colleagues or anybody I meet, one of the first questions actually is when you meet someone, you ask them what's your name, right? How you doing? What's your name? The second question is usually, where are you from? This is a general thing around the world. Where are you from? And so as soon as I say I'm from Iran or I'm from the Middle East, the person already has some sort of idea of what they think I am in their heads. So then when I start talking to people and I start, if I'm talking to you right now, then they do ask me this. Not so much so specifically, what do you identify yourself with? But who are you? Where are you from? Where do you think you belong and stuff? Where is home? I cannot still to this day tell you where I think my home is. I've lived most of my life in Madrid, which is around 12 years. It's not that long. I'm 34 years old. The other 22 years I've been around the world, everywhere almost. I was lucky enough to go to the United States before Donald Trump became president. It was actually before Obama too. When I was there, Obama just became president. So it was still a little bit easier for Iranians to go to to the United States, which is not, well, you know, with COVID now, nobody even can travel. So like, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question or not. What do I identify? Why I get asked this question is because I'm weird, bro. That's why, because I'm different.
Yeah, so that's your experience. That's your personal experience, right? Like, because like I said, like other people don't have, like, haven't had this question asked to them. So it's interesting for me to know why are you asked, have been asked this question before. But also, like, tell me more about like what are your upbringings? Like, what is the furthest away memory that you can remember from your life? Like tell me, like as a kid, how far you can go back in the memory lane.
Um, you know, that's interesting. I actually have been thinking about this on and off for a very long time, and I don't have, like, the earliest I can go back is kindergarten, and it was in France, in south of France, in Nice. And at this point, but the thing is, before this, we were in the UAE, and after that, we went to Turkey, to Istanbul. But I don't remember any of this, just through stories, bits and pieces from what my parents told me. And at this point in France, again, it's like bits and pieces. It's nothing major. If I remember a friend of mine that I used to have like play dates with and stuff like that. I remember the school, nothing interesting, nothing worth, but just like bits and pieces. But the interesting part of this is that I actually do ask people what is the earliest memories they have, and they talk about when they're 2 or 3 years old, and I can't get back to like before 7. I think it has a lot to do with traveling a lot, because by the time we got to France, I had been going to like preschool and kindergartens and stuff like that in like 4 different countries, and more importantly, with 4 different languages. So by the time I got to France, I kind of stopped talking up until we went to Canada. I understood people, but I didn't want to like respond to them because I was just done with languages at that point. And then when one major thing in my life was like TV, professional wrestling. I don't know if you know what that is, the WWE, and at the time the WWF. So I related to those guys a lot, and I just chose English and wrestling as like my educator, because I didn't really understand anything or anybody else. So that was actually a permanent, the earliest memory I have is standing watching Hulk Hogan come out and getting really excited. This is, and this went on up until like last time I watched the WWE was about, what, a month ago? I'm not as fanatic about it anymore, but that's the earliest memory I have, actually, Hulk Hogan.
Can you tell me more? Why were you traveling so much? What was the reason for it? What was the reason behind like traveling? As you said, like before age 7, right? You've been like already in 4 countries, like in kindergarten and so on. Like, what was the reason for that?
Well, my dad was a businessman, is still, and my mom wanted us, well, for me at that point, to be around him more often. And since there was a war going on, we just left with him wherever he thought that he has more opportunities to say. So like, yeah, just traveling around because of businesses about my father. And by the time we got to Spain, by the time we got to London, we stayed there for 2 years. After this, we came to Spain. He still traveled, but we just, I mean, like that was the cutoff point. My mom said, okay, you go. I'm just going to stay here. So we stayed in Madrid.
Do you perhaps remember that as a hectic time very much so? Because like you painted that perhaps because, you know, I don't want to say loss of memory, but like still you say you don't remember some stuff from that prior. And do you feel like that was like a very hectic moment in time for you? And is there actually maybe a silver lining behind that? What can you say about that time?
I think by the time we got to Madrid, because things got stable, Because you gotta like, if you go like, all right, one of my earliest memories, like I told you, is my friend from the south of France. So you built a connection, yeah, and you gotta remember, like we're talking about like 30 years ago. So there was no technology, was not what it is right now. Me sitting in Madrid and you in Latvia talking to each other so freely, it was a lot harder. So you would get close to somebody, you know, as a kid too. You're building a connection, a relationship, and just like that, you gotta move. You're going somewhere else. So you can't really build. You have this like defensive mechanism. That's the silver lining. Like, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it allows you to be a bit more tough. You got to break away and go somewhere else. And you got to cut this and go somewhere else. It's just something that has to happen. It's part of your life, or my life at the time. And by the time we got to Madrid, things were stable. Now I have friends from when I was like 12, 13 years old. Still, I can talk to. But like up until there, because there was no stability and there was always the thing in the back of my mind, all right, we got to move like soon, or we got to go somewhere else. Once that started disappearing, things became more of a life, like a normal life kind of thing. Silver lining is really that, is that like, I think when I left Madrid, I went to the States. I traveled all over the States throughout college. I've gone to Dubai. I've gone to work in China. I've come back to Madrid. It's just easier. It's easier to cut from something and go something else. You're not scared of the change. That for me is a silver lining, because not everybody can do that.
See, this is where I feel like a bit embarrassed, because like I want to specify through you perhaps. Do you know Valuetainment, the YouTube channel? Have you heard of it?
No.
So there's this guy, he's a Iranian refugee as well. He lives in America. He's right now works in the insurance business and has a YouTube channel and creates, the channel is called Valuetainment, because like it's value and entertainment put together. May not be the flashiest content, but like it's like about entrepreneurship and stuff like that. So and he many times have referenced that he comes from Iran through around that time. As you said, like you were around 4, and he says like he was like around 10, and I feel like there's that age gap. Like in this, I feel like that may be the same word that you experienced. Do you feel like you said many times already, stability? Like, do you feel like you even have the real answer to that? What is stability for you? Because like you've been pushed around and traveled around. Like as a kid, like you don't control that. Just, you know, your parents grab you by your hand, or just like this, right? And over the shoulder, because you're a little kid, and we're going, you know, and you don't have a say in that. Do you feel like you actually have a real sense of what is stability? Because you mentioned that several times.
You know, when I, let me see how I can phrase this. There's a reason why I watched the WWE for like 30 years. That's the way that I feel stable. Like there has to be a constant in your life. The longest relationship I've had with everything is with the WWE. Second is my cat. He's 10 years old. I took him to Dubai with me. I brought him back with me. Stability is constant. It's something that you want constantly. A relationship with a friend. Is it a place? Is it a job? That I haven't come across yet, if that's what you're asking. But like, stability itself is something that's constant in your life, to me.
I feel like sometimes people do not have the sense of understanding the good parts in their life that they have, right? They take things for granted, and sometimes people are like, oh, like this is too boring, and sometimes they regret that they like have this stability. They're like, there's a value in that as well. And sometimes people reach for it. Like now there's a trend of digital nomads, right? And how do you feel like, is there a sense of understanding that has come for you? Do you understand people better from like having this background of like instability, let's say so? And you have accomplished, as you said, some stability as well. But like, do you feel like that has given you a ability of understanding people from a different perspective?
No, sure, absolutely. Life is a puzzle. Like you could live in Madrid, you can live in Dubai, you can live in Boston. You're gonna have a completely different experience everywhere because cultures are different, people's mentality is different, and you gotta figure out where you're at. At least that's the way I see it, and how you can make the best out of it for yourself. For instance, when I was in Dubai, I didn't really have that much of a passion for acting, but I did like training and I did like athleticism. This is what I enjoyed. I wanted to teach people how to better themselves. But the thing is, Dubai is a very rank. Like I don't know, have you been to LA?
No.
All right. Have you been to London?
Uh, Kinda, yeah, but not for a long time.
Mentality is very similar. It's like, what can you do for me? Who are you? What's your rank here? And so for me, 5 years ago, when I wanted to be a personal trainer there, I was nobody because like people, when they talk about like who their personal trainers are in Dubai, somebody says like, oh, my trainer's a former 3-time world heavyweight champion of boxing. Or the other guy says, yeah, my trainer, she was like an Olympian figure skater. You talk to Sandra, you talk to Victor. I don't have those credentials, but I wanted to be a top paid trainer. I wanted to succeed in what I've chosen to do. So that's where acting and the modeling thing came into play. Because unless I did that, I was never going to be taken like serious as a top ranked person. Now, not now, but back then, when I worked for like whoever that I did, they would say like, oh, my trainer is the guy that was in the Mini Cooper commercial, or my trainer is the guy who did the Test Shield commercial. And that's the way that, but this is what I'm trying to say. Life is a puzzle. When I came here, COVID happened. And yes, I'm going after like logistics, and I'm a Forex trader. So like trading, financial stuff, like jobs like that. But then COVID happened. And now here we have a brand that's bigger than the offspring of the Beatles and Michael Jackson. Like everybody and their mother has heard of what COVID-19 is and are terrified of it. So you see everybody getting into like, all right, how can I benefit from this? How can I like, you know, there's people like you have, what's the expression? The glass is half full, and you say, what can I do with this? And there's people that says, you know, glasses half empty. Oh my God, what do I do? My business going down to shits. Sorry, going down. So like, what I did is I was on your side of the thing, but not in the, you know, my own thing. I have a friend who's developing masks and stuff like that. I have another friend who was doing this incredible fabric. It's called Merrill. It comes from Nilestar. So we started doing this between Spain and Abu Dhabi. And now when COVID is going to finish, hopefully by the end of this year, I mean, there's China pharmaceuticals that have like apparently discovered vaccines, or Russia has a vaccine. I don't know, but hopefully it will finish. After that, I don't think I'll be staying in Madrid. I don't know where I'm going, but like, you know, I can't. What my brain is formed that I can only survive 3-4 years in a place, and then I gotta go. And I've been here a year already. This will be the second. Then who knows? I'm thinking London for now.
I want to ask you this, since you introduced yourself as a businessman at this moment, you like you said prior to our in the conversation that you know, a year ago there was a different you know, introduction maybe for you, but Tell me, what is your first exposure to like dealing with businesses, and like how did you make your first money and stuff like that? Because like maybe there's something like in your past that already showed glimpses of what you're doing, all the adapting to stuff and businesses, and then finding the opportunities. Maybe there are glimpses already in your past, like in the early ages.
My dad is a very successful businessman. He's done businesses around the world. I worked in China with him, actually. He's very well versatile. He's active in Nigeria, in Dubai, in China, in around Europe, around Middle East, not just Dubai. So being around him, I learned a lot, especially how to like business is all about connections and reputation. That's really what it is what can you do and who you know. So if you can show someone you can do a certain thing well and it has results, then that's your reputation. And who you meet and who you keep in touch with throughout it, that's your contacts. And that's, I think, honest to God, like to me, business comes down to those two things. If I didn't train this guy from Abu Dhabi who works for the government, and I didn't know this guy that's making the textile, I'd be doing nothing right now. It's just connecting them that put me into business-wise. I like the earliest thing I can tell you is kind of a funny story actually. When we, like I told you, I was really into the WWE, and in early 2000s, the big star at the time, his name was Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was coming back to wrestling. You have to understand, this is 2000, 2001. There is Amazon, but it's not what it is today. There is no, you got modems that are connected to ADSL. It's not what today is. So I bought, when I knew he was coming back, I had my dad's credit card. I'm like 12 or 13 at the time. I had my dad's credit card. He was always traveling. So I ordered 150 Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirts. And I put them up on this like wrestling eBay site. It wasn't really eBay at the time. It was like you transfer money into here and then like you get. So I was going to set this t-shirts up over there, and the bank called my dad, said there's some irregular activities going on in your card. There's a t-shirt being ordered from WWE.com. So he immediately knew that was me. And he called over asking like, what the hell are you doing? I said, no, this is a star, this and that. He was impressed, but he had already declined the order. I think that is the earliest thing I've ever had with business. Knowing that people in London are going to want Stone Cold t-shirts. Hot brand.
Is there a follow-up for that story? Maybe later down the line, did you were able to flip any shirts or
no,
something like that?
You know what the thing is, I always wanted, like up until like I was 25, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. So really like all I did was train and eat and do that stuff. Like the business portion of it really there was nothing in my mind that doubted me that I'm going to become a professional wrestler. I was very confident kid. So, like even in my high school yearbook, it says most likely to win the WWE championship. Like I was the walking marketing person unofficially for the WWE a long time ago, before I grew up and realized that let's do other things.
Well, was it hard for you like to put that aside? Because like sometimes people have a passion in something, and it's time to put that passion away, and especially for athletes, right, that are like at the age that when they have to retire, and then it's like hard to retire, and then the body gives them signals that you have to do that. But for you, was it like a kind of a sour feeling perhaps for you?
Well, my entire game plan was I got to go to an American university so I can go to America, so I can go to an actual wrestling school. So I can be big and I can be whatever. But in Madrid, up until like a few years ago, there was no professional wrestling. Even now, it's not only mostly like football. Spain is a very football oriented, like it's 99% football, 1% everything else. So my whole game plan was like train, be big, be built, have the look, but then go to the United States and actually like attend schools and study it. And by the time I was in Boston, that's what it was. There was my university's in Madrid, but they have like a campus, and their main campus is in Boston. The only reason why I chose to go to this university, because New Hampshire was a few hours away, and one of the I'm not sure if I can talk about it, but one of the well-known wrestling schools at the time was there. So I knew what I was doing. So every weekend I would go over and try to like learn and stuff like that. But my experience there wasn't very well because, well, like I said, I look very Arabic. So like that, everybody can see this. And over there, you get a lot of, well, I wasn't the most popular guy, let's put it like that. So when but that still didn't really stop me. When I came back to Madrid after I finished my university, now my plan was to go to Germany because they're big on professional wrestling there. Like just learn there, make a name, and just try to move on. Then I got hurt. At 25, I got hurt. I had an accident, and so I needed surgery on my lumbar, like my lower lumbar region, L1S1. And they basically had to shave off my one of my discs that had come out a little bit. So then after this, kind of like, you know, I remember this, like being 25 and wasn't able to like walk upstairs and stuff like that. And I was scared because like you know, like I don't want to. There's a lot of things I want to do besides being a professional wrestler. Like at that time especially, I want to like travel the world. I want to do different things. Like maybe we should explore other areas, and forget this. It was the injury, and realizing that it could happen, but it's just like it would take a ridiculously more effort for me to make it into an American sport. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't have, like, it could happen, it has happened, it will happen, but it's just like, do I have that much passion for this to give everything, including my ability to walk? So like, it came to a point that said, no, let's do something else. Let's go around and figure out my journey.
I want to specify this detail with you when you talk about these schools in the States about wrestling, and those were like wrestling in the sense of like Greco-Roman wrestling and stuff like that. Am I right? Like
no, professionals. No. That exists everywhere. I actually wrestled in high school in Canada.
Yeah, but like you're talking about like that type of wrestling that it's not like WWE style. It's like the Olympic style wrestling. Are you talking?
No. They're actual WWE schools, like professional wrestling. Oh, yeah, it's not amateur. Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't exist in Europe. That's why. Well, and now it does. Like you can go to England, Germany. England has been for a long time, but Germany. But then again, England, I would have the same problem. It's up until I was around 27. Is when I got my Spanish nationality. Up until then, I've been traveling around with an Iranian passport. So this life was a lot more difficult in the traditional sense. Now it's easier. So yeah, back then it was, well, the sentiment was the same for Iranians, but it was just like, it was a lot harder to travel, open bank accounts, do stuff like that.
Tell me more about like what do you say about the people that like say like wrestling is fake, and what is your argument against that, or what can you say about that?
It's true. It's sports entertainment. They're delivering a story. It's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. It's not anymore. I'm not really into it anymore. And I'll tell you this: I had this conversation with Victor, the guy you interviewed. When you're younger, you look up to these people. Right? When you're older and they're younger than you, you don't really like, you know, like, okay, like you're cool, you're awesome, but like, I mean, you're not The Rock. so like, uh, wrestling is sports entertainment. It's not sports because it's predetermined. It's entertainment. They're delivering a story in their matches. They're not really. It's like watching Rocky. Have you seen Rocky? Do you like Rocky?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
it's a story. It's a story about this dude, and that's how it is. That's what storylines are in wrestling. It's not. Do UFC and I'll say this forever. The UFC after Dana White came on board, he really used a lot of WWE tactics to like the interviews, like hyping up the matches and stuff like that, giving it a story. Before it was just two dudes getting in a cage and fighting, and their credentials spoke for itself. Royce Gracie being like the greatest jiu-jitsu fighter, or Ken Shamrock, the MMA fighter. But it wasn't really like, there was no story. There was just rivalries. Dana gave it storylines, and this is what's exciting about wrestling, especially for young kids, because it's a story, like bad guy versus the good guy. The bad, oh, look at this guy, he's gonna, and then the hero comes out and kicks his ass. It's different.
Have you like split that, like in one it was wrestling, like the entertainment part and the fitness part, because like you still have to be in shape and physical abilities have to be up to par to perform all those acts. Tell me, is there a sense of like, this is how I feel listening to your story, that one thing which was the wrestling part split it in two passions, and one was like, as you mentioned, the theater, the acting, and the other one was just fitness, right? As you said, like you turn into a fitness specialist. Tell me, is that true, or how can you explain?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100% true. Absolutely. I never really wanted to be an actor over being a professional wrestler. When that went away, then that became like a spark. Like I at least I can entertain people in a different manner and still be fit and built and stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right about that.
Tell me, how did you found those opportunities? Like the acting stuff, like you mentioned before, the opportunity that you found that right now with the masks, but prior to that, right? The other adventures that you have had, the acting and then the fitness, and how do you ended up in Dubai?
Well, the Dubai was because I went to, prior to Dubai, I worked for my dad. I like as his, well, let's not like assistant, basically. Just go around with him, meet people, and do these things. And this took me to China, and Dubai. And then whilst in Dubai, I realized like it's just easier to be there than to live in Madrid. You know, it's like going to China from Madrid is 8 hours to Dubai, 8 hours to China, 8 hours to Beijing. Well, that's annoying, like to say the least. It's long flight. So just if you stay in Dubai, makes sense. And my dad kept asking me like to come live in Dubai. It's easier from there. Dubai is a tax haven. If you register your company in Dubai, and you set your domicile as Dubai, then bring your like chain companies outside in Europe. For instance, in Spain, in France, Italy, you pay a ridiculous amount for taxes. Almost half, sometimes more. Like taxes are ridiculous here. So if you are registered and your domicile is in Dubai, and you say and show that you're paying for taxes there, which is less than 10%, it really works out for you here, because you're just saying like you're paying for your taxes over there. Being a resident of Dubai, it just makes things easier. So many people do their businesses through Dubai because of this, so they don't have to pay so much for taxes. Like when in Dubai, then I realized that this is not something that I just want to do because I'm living my dad's life. And although nice and cushy, it's not my passion. So then I followed, went looking. And in Dubai, like I said, I am very, very Arabic looking. So then there, it makes sense to do these things over there. And once it started, it started. It took a bit to start, like with the modeling stuff. I don't like modeling. I should mention that it's not something I enjoy. But the acting thing I did enjoy. It was nice. While it lasted, it was a couple of years of it. And then Dubai is a very strict place. They have like policies about like your visas and your residencies and stuff like that. And my friends were telling me like throughout that time, I made friends with like directors and other actors, and they said if you want to do this properly, you can't stay in Dubai. This is you could do commercials. I like they were. I actually was offered the Aston Martin commercial too. That's just come out, but like I couldn't do it because it was competitive. Anyway, as long as you stay here, you're going to be doing commercials. You can't do anything real or serious. So you got to go to LA. You got to go to London. You got to go somewhere that they actually do movies and stuff. So that was the plan. I came back to Madrid to in order to go to London. But then COVID happened, Brexit happened, like you had to register yourself in London before that. Messy stuff, and I just ended up staying here. Whilst here, I discovered that we can work with this COVID thing.
Is there goals that you specifically want to achieve through that, or have you put them aside, or still you want to achieve them through like the acting gig?
I have a couple of characters I'd like to display. They're like, it's always going to be in the back of my mind. I have a couple of people in my head that I want to bring to life, but you got to go with, like I spent 10, 12, maybe 15 years running after a very, very difficult dream. And through it, I wouldn't say I did not, but there was other things, obviously. There's not only one thing a human being wants to do. We get one life, right? So you want to experience and do as much as possible. And there's times when I'm just like, when I'm 17, 18 years old and my friends are going out and drinking and like doing drugs, experimenting, like everybody does, doing things. And I'm thinking, no, I want to be a WWE wrestler. I got to just go to the gym. I got to work out. I got to eat my chicken. And I don't want to repeat that. I want to always leave room for things to do. I think our experiences in life forms like how we're going to be in the future. And once you reach a certain age, you kind of know what gives you comfort and where you want to go. And for me, that stability comes within like friends and it always has a time limit. I'm one of these people that believes that nothing lasts forever, and like just make the most of it as you can, and then continue. If you're having fun, if it's good, keep going. If you're not, then change. It's not hard to change. People are scared of change, but it's not a difficult thing.
I want to ask you this: are you a superstitious person?
No.
Can you tell me? Like perhaps the characters that you're talking about that you want to display, or are there? I don't know. Like, I will just say, do you want to play the Batman or the Joker or something like that?
Actually, yeah, no. Like a Joker, a antagonist, a really bad antagonist, but like one of these people that he's so bad that you can't help but watch. Like I have it in my head. It's very hard to. It's moments and pieces. It's like scenes that I've seen in my head. But it's a Joker-esque, and the other one's just a comedy. Like I have a. Do you know who Jerry Lewis is? You're too young to know who Jerry Lewis is, probably. It was this. You know Jim Carrey, right? Have you seen old?
Right.
Okay, so Jerry Lewis, Jim Carrey have very dignified, like significant facial expressions as part of their humor. You can see how they're feeling. It's goofy. Is not the traditional comedy. It's a bit different. Have you seen The Mask, for instance?
You mean the green mask, right? The
Jim Carrey, yeah.
With the yellow.
Goofy humor. I feel like that's not a lost art, and I would like to bring that into fruition.
How much have you studied like the craft, and how much like you have studied? I don't know, like for example, some traits of psychology, or let's say some insights of how the human mind works or adapts to different feelings and expressions and things of that nature? Have you studied that? Have put some interest in understanding
I
more?
mean, yeah, absolutely. I've read about them a lot. The thing is, like, I don't know how to express this. Just for me, everything I've learned, and my number one educator was the WWE, unofficially. I learned everything from them. I really did. When you're a kid, you're 13 years old, you watch a 2-hour program, which is called Monday Night Raw, and you got a guy like The Rock, who is honestly in 45 minutes of this program. Either he's doing an interview or a match or beating up somebody backstage. And you're like, there's 40 people on this show. There's like 40 to 50 guys, talented, all built, good looking. Why? Why do they put this guy on all the time? Like, what is it about this guy that gets so much more attention and so much? He would come out. I don't know if you know who The Rock is. You probably do. He's everywhere. But when I was 13, when he was young, when he was in wrestling, he wasn't so big. But he would come out. His music would hit, and everybody in the arena would go absolutely insane. And he would come out and he would just get in the ring. He wouldn't say one word. He would just raise his eyebrow, and people would go insane. That's psychology. That is control. That is like power to control 20,000 people in your hand by doing this. That is insane. And that's so that I would like to think, like, I would start thinking, like, what is it about this guy? Like, why him and not the other guys? Okay, he's good looking. All right, he's built. He's funny. He has good timing. He knows how to talk. When he talks, people listen. So he structures his voice, his tone of voice, the way that he says words and stuff. He's the show. Like, 20,000 people are watching him. And then, so like to say, like, I studied Sigmund Freud, no, I studied The Rock. But I myself think it's a lot to do with psychology, but just my interpretation. My major in university was philosophy. And, well, I mean, I did global business and philosophy, but my interest laid more in philosophy. And what that tells you is that there's no right or wrong answer. You got to think for yourself. You interpret your reality. I read something the other day that resonated with me. It says, whatever you think of yourself only exists in your head. Everybody else that you know have their own version of you in their head. And you have no idea what that is. You can kind of figure out, like, what it is, but everybody's got their own version of you. I think that's true, and that's
Yeah. Speaking of psychology as well, to continue the page in acting as well, there's this story that's very some way infamous because Heath Ledger died because of, like, overexhausting himself from playing the Joker, right, at the set and so on. And there's a story, but look at the other end. The Batman, right? It's a completely on the other spectrum. There's different traits that have to be portrayed by playing the Batman. Do you feel there is a person that's capable of playing both? Because I feel like those are so different from each other, and I feel like that's the beauty actually of the creation of Batman and Joker's relationship. Do you feel that it's even possible for someone to play both? I don't mean in the same movie, but like in perhaps like in different spin-offs or something like that.
I think ultimately Batman and Joker are cut from the same cloth, except that Batman decided to be yin and Joker decided to be yang. I mean, if you into the comics and stuff, for a very long time, all Joker wants to do is bring that one thing out of Batman, because besides that, they're pretty much the same. And that is that Batman has that one rule that he doesn't kill. But as an actor playing, I think you need different, you gotta have different structures. You can't, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody. I was about to say Brad Pitt, but I don't think so. He could be a Batman, but I don't know if he could be a Joker.
I don't mean like not even like someone that's known, but from a psychology perspective of someone possessing those like abilities. I don't mean like a known actor, but like, do you feel like a single human being could possess both of them inside of him?
No, because they're both weird. Like, to say that neither one of them is a normal person, but one is lawless and one has a law. It's how you're governed, right? You can't be anarchy and lawful at the same time. I don't know if you can. It's not something that is traditional, I suppose. I say that if no, that's it. Yeah, is you can't be anarchy and law at the same time.
It would be very interesting because, like, I feel like there have been animated series that have portrayed this, but in the comics, the originals, where it comes from, there have been these storylines where the Joker poisons the Batman and the Batman becomes the Joker. But it has not ever been portrayed in a real movie. So
There's
I think
one.
it would be a very interesting challenge for someone if that would be portrayed in some way.
There's one. I forgot the name of it, but it's a very interesting concept where the whole moment that Batman gets created. I mean, it's been tossed around here and there, but it really starts when he sees his parents get shot in front of him, right? So there's one reality. It's like different realities of these superheroes. Is one reality where the shooter actually shoots Bruce. I don't know if you've seen this. So Bruce Wayne dies. His father becomes Batman, and his mother becomes the Joker. Immediately, they both like. That's what I'm saying. They're cut from the same cloth. Like one goes absolutely mad in one way, and one becomes like tries to prevent that madness from taking over him. This is the same thing with the Joker. The original Joker thing, right before everything, was that he was trying to be a comedian and really bad at it, failed, and his wife was sick. So him trying to like he needed to pay for like her medicines and her surgery or whatever it was. But so he was convinced into going and robbing this. I forgot what it was exactly, but robbing something. And when he robs this place, the people take his money. The people who hired him take his money and drop him on his ass. He's slowly going mad. He goes home and he realizes his wife has died and completely loses it. And his crying just turns into laughter. And now he no longer lives in this world. He lives in his head and he makes his own law. Like that's what the story was telling us, is that he's being blocked. He is blocking his true self, his madness, to come out. And those events led him to become what he is. They played on this a little bit with the Joker movie, which was absolutely amazing. Joaquin Phoenix did a tremendous job. But yeah, that's originally what created the Joker, is like stuff that made that thin line that was holding his laws together broke. And Batman's never has. He makes laws for himself, but he will never he always has his justice code for him, where Joker does not.
Right. I feel like what the movie left off for, of course, there are these psychological things from the perspective of like, people are broken sometimes and like the world is put on their shoulders and they don't know how to like get out of it. But also from the comic book perspective, I think I know you told a story, but there's the mystery that actually the movie left us with, was that we don't know what actually is the true story, what is his imagination and what is actually true, right, and all that. So that's the mystery. And I read somewhere that actually one of the biggest mysteries that Batman hasn't cracked is the true identity of Joker, and that's something that they haven't kind of dabbled around. They like came close to it, but like always spinned around and then said like, oh, maybe this is just Joker's like twisted mind just playing a version what it could be. Do you feel that this type of like psychological stuff is coming upon people, like it was portrayed in the Joker movie, and sometimes as talked about around the society. Do you feel like that's something on the emergence, or right now because of the digital age is just having more exposure, and it has always been around us?
I think it's always been around, but just that certain certain events lead up to people losing their shits. Like, of course, like if I was living in Lebanon by now, I'd probably lose my shit. You know what I mean? Like after everything that's happened, or Syria, or in like anywhere, Middle East has suffered the most throughout this. They have COVID, they have war, they have famine. They're going through a lot of stuff. So like, I see. Do you watch South Park?
I've seen it, but not the biggest fan of it.
They made the Mexican Joker like as a parody, but it's like basically like anybody can be the Joker. Anybody can be the Joker nowadays. But like, well, the good thing is now, I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but we're all being controlled by the government, and like they have a lot more ways with AIs and stuff like that try to kind of prevent all these things from happening as much as possible. You can search for certain words and you're already on people's radars, you know, or you can say certain. I'd rather not, with my nationality, mention any of these words, but like you know, you say things and people are already on you. So I feel like it's a little bit less likely for it to happen because of technology. But yeah, even COVID could drive people crazy now. It's a possibility. So I see, you see here in 2011, Spain was hit with the crisis harder than any other European country. They were the last ones to come out. For like 4 years, they had 25% unemployment rates, to a point that like the South Americans that were living here had all gone back. And in shelters, there was only Spanish people, like mostly Spanish people. This is how bad it was. This COVID is going to hit Spain the hardest too. They've been closed for a very long time. These local businesses, the small businesses, they're going to go away. So like in the next 3-4 months, we might generate several Spanish jokers. I hope not. I'm joking, of course. But like, yeah, it's going to hit here hard.
Tell me more about, like, coming back to your business. What has like given you the opportunity to bring out the masks, right? The business in that, and how do you actually perceive things? Like, do you see this as opportunity, and how are you holding things together basically during this time?
Like I said before, it's context. For me, I was just a lucky SOB, because like I knew the person that was making this textile, who was getting into the mask business, and my friend just set up a company to just do the masks. They're called Protect Pine. They have a very, very cool website. They don't just do masks; they do a lot of like anti-COVID stuff, you know. And they're one of the top sellers of anti-COVID stuff. They have this spray that if you spray on textile, it has silver ion technology. So like really, really tiny silver that they put in a spray. And silver, for like, I don't know how long, the Egyptians, the Romans, they went from bark to silver because it doesn't allow bacteria and virus, right? So this silver, signed and certified by the Ministry of Health, it protects you against any virus because it just puts silver in the air or in the textile for 7 days. The mask is the same thing. It has silver ion technology inside of it. So your one-time usable masks, they're not exactly preventing you from anything. But this one does, because it actually has a technology that's certified to do it. I'm not plugging them. I'm just saying I like my product. The product has been good to me. Does it have opportunity? It did. It did. We were reaching about the end of the COVID era, I hope, and still does. But like, I'm hoping in the next couple of months, it's all going to be gone away.
How is it? Of course, we will learn from it. I hope we learn from it. Recently, I spoke to a guy that has created technology that helps medical students to study anatomy, and he said like he doesn't feel like we're going back to the way students used to study. He said like there's a time prior COVID, during the COVID, and post COVID. There's no turning back. So I feel like the same. I feel like people have to just grasp the opportunities they have, look for opportunities that they haven't grasped yet, and that's how I feel like anything should be approached. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. This makes sense. Agree.
What were the biggest challenge in that? Like building up the business, how easy was it? Can you talk about like that, or is that a secret?
No, not secret, not at all. Like I said, my portion of it is introducing one guy that has the textile and one guy that's making the mask and wants to buy it locally. That's it. I didn't have to do anything about it. Really is knowing people, like I said, like business for me, because everybody will interpret it a different way. What you're doing is a business. You're marketing, you're pushing yourself. For me, it's reputation and context. It's really, it's my reputation that I've built up over the years with my friends and colleagues, and it's contact, which are my friends and colleagues, basically. I mean, like, if you wanna if you wanna see the hardships of making textile, that's my friend that's making the fabric. The hardships of the mask, that's my friend that's making the mask. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to go on a meeting to Barcelona and connect them. That's it, really. It's, you know, something that people don't really get is how valuable contacts actually are. It really brings a certain thing to the table that it doesn't matter if you, like, all right, I'll give you an example. The fabric, the guy who's making the textile, he is a Spanish millionaire. Lionel Messi is about to buy his house, all right, for 4 million euros. He's moving to Madrid because of whatever business stuff. He is a friend of my friend's mother who I lived with in college. Okay, this is who he is. And my other friend, the one that set up the mask business, the COVID business, he's a Harvard graduate. He used to be my roommate in college too. But there is, as good as this guy is, and as rich as that guy is, there was no way of these two ever meeting if it wasn't because of me. Like, putting it into perspective, like, he could have approached 600 different distributors and they wouldn't be able to sell the way that my other friend from Protect Pina can. And so he became officially the #1 distributor for Merrill Fabric in Spain. And there was no way of this happening. So with them meeting, they compensate me for it, for introducing them. I have other friends that distribute, you know, but like, contact is a very big deal. This is one thing that I've learned throughout my life in Dubai, especially. Context is a very, very big deal. And I'm fortunate enough to know many people.
Do you believe in the sense of the butterfly effect in that regard?
I do.
Yeah.
That I do. I wouldn't call that superstition, but I do. If you don't go after one thing and you go after another thing, you will miss out on whatever that other thing was. Life is a gamble. It really is. And you can be comfortable. Like, nobody expected COVID to happen. Nobody expected, they expected Iran to have a war. They expected Russia to have a war. Nobody expected that a virus is going to put people the way that it is. And as long as you're comfortable doing the one thing that you're doing, going to work every day and selling whatever product you're selling, and that's your life, you were never going to be prepared for, like, the things that the unknown, let's say. And that's what, and COVID might be the end and it might not be the end, but you can't just, I'm not going to live in Madrid for that much longer. I want to go stay in Brazil for a couple of years. I want to go to Japan for a few years. There is so much that you can learn from different parts of the world and make yourself into whoever your completed self is, that I think that if you don't, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't, you will advance in different departments, relationships, or I don't know, like you will develop no matter what. That's what the human being does. But if you go to different places, I believe you develop your mind. because you get to learn. There's such a difference between like living in China and living like, let's say, in Boston. There's such a huge difference, and it's not something that they can just like exemplify. It's something that you have to see when you're there. They're all people. They all eat food, sleep 8 hours a day, but in such a different manner. There is no God in China. There's money. Money is God, the unofficial God, you know? In Dubai, there is a God, but like, it's not the same God that it is in Boston. It's just, you got to be in different places to learn these things. And it's not something I can really exemplify from the top of my head, but it's what I like. It's how I've programmed to be, to go to different places.
You travel to places, but if you had the ability to travel in time, would you take that ability and would you go back to yourself and teach yourself something? And
No.
what time would you go?
No, I don't believe in going back. I don't. Like, you got to go forward always.
Right.
I would go into the future to see what's going on.
That's nice.
But I wouldn't go to the back.
Well, through your experiences, I want to ask you this: like, who would you pinpoint as your greatest teacher?
The Rock, Vince McMahon.
Right.
Vince McMahon or The Rock. I've had amazing role models, like real life, physical, but nobody has accomplished what The Rock and Vince McMahon have. Not my father, not my teachers, not my brother, not my friends. Nobody. Those two are my that's if I dream job to be the assistant of Vince McMahon just for a few years, just to see how his mind works. That's my dream job. Not to be a wrestler anymore, but to work for Vince McMahon for sure.
Tell me more. What have you learned from him? Like, tell me the experiences. Like, give me some examples.
You have to know what's going on in the current events. You have to be a part of it. You have to relate to people's emotional sides. You have to make them feel. You have to stand out. You can't be the same as everybody else. You can't. If you want to be remembered, you got to have a different thing for you. You got to be funny, and to be funny, you got to be smart. So like there's a marketing. If to pinpoint things, I've learned marketing. I've learned timing. I've learned delivering. Stuff like that. Moments that last forever sometimes come out of nowhere, but most of the time it's something that you got to be prepared for. 24 hours a day, they might happen, and you got to be a certain character. When you go to a job interview, you're not the same way that you are with your mom, right? It's a different personality. It's a different character that you're portraying. The person that you are with your mom is more or less who you really are, with no defense mechanism or nothing on. When you're at a job interview, you're like, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. I'm really happy to be here. And you're building up a character. This is not how you actually feeling. You want them to like you, right? So that aspect of life, that this should be like apparent 24 hours a day. Because you never know when an opportunity is going to come. You really never know. Right now, you're talking to me, someone's outside, maybe ringing your doorbell. If you go answer it, this could change your life forever. Forever. You know? People exemplify like going and getting hit by a bus. No. Why like that? Go, maybe like if you go, I don't know, I'm getting sidetracked. Never mind. I get to babble a lot. Just that you gotta, the most thing I've learned is you gotta be prepared all the time. The Rock doesn't sleep. Vince McMahon doesn't sleep. They're always ready for everything, and they never stop.
Do you feel that there's a pain associated with that, and there's like the pain that they are hiding?
No. I think they are very competitive people, and I think that pain, I mean, that's a very, very, yeah, of course there's pain, you know, like, but I think they thrive in pain. I think that pain is a challenge for them. It must be hard for The Rock to come out and say him and his entire family has COVID. But also, how many people relate to that? You know, it's like it's Vince McMahon has been sued 6,000 different times by 6,000 different people. Does he stop? No. Like it's just part of it. Like when you dabble in greatness, you're gonna be hated. You're gonna be envied. It's just part of the thing that comes with it.
Do you have your greatest pain that you have overcome?
I would hope so.
At this moment,
I don't know.
would you say you have a lifetime pain that you like have overcome and like has taught you something like that?
I mean, yeah, sure, but different aspects. Okay, when my dog died, I was really sad. When I knew I can't wrestle anymore, I was really sad. Like there are things that come, but it's not. It's that stupid expression. What is it? When one door closes, another one opens. It's just how quickly you realize it. You know, like yeah, life is about ups and downs. You're never gonna stay up all the time. You're gonna go down. But you got to know how to come out of that down. And that's what experiences in life teaches you, how to come back up. It's never as constant. You've seen Deadpool, right? When he says, when he's going to the bathroom, it says life is like commercial-sized happiness with the rest of it is bullshit. That's his life, sure. But it doesn't have to be everybody's. You make the best out of the situation. Man, like, in Madrid, I was in Dubai. I was an actor. I was a fitness trainer. I worked all the time. I slept 4 hours a day. It was good. It was great. Came to Madrid. I sleep 8 hours a day. I'm doing something different. I'm happy. Like it's. I'm not working as much, but I'm earning. Is it better? Is it worse? It's just how it is. You got to make the best of every situation that you're in. Life is a puzzle. You get daily puzzles every day. Every day you're given 90% of what happens in your day. You have no control over. It's the 10% is your reaction to it. You know, like I don't know. I think we're similar in the positivity kind of thing. I try not to see the negative in things. I try to see it as a challenge. Pain is a challenge. Why do I feel like this? I don't want to feel like this anymore. So how can I do and live my days not to feel like this anymore? You know, something like that.
What do you feel like is your recipe? What has made you? Like, if we have to like put the ingredients, name me the ingredients that have made you the person that you are.
Well, it's for sure the WWE philosophy. Being Iranian and never being in Iran, being judged for being Iranian, but never ever even being there. The most I've ever spent in Iran was 4 years, and it was like 2 years when I was born. We left, we came back 3 years, and we left, and that was the end of it. The most I've spent in the Middle East has been 8 years of my 34 years life. But whenever I introduce myself and I say I'm from Iran, the judgment is already there. Like it's something I can control. It's just something that exists. Like, okay, you're Iranian. I know very bad things, but I used to joke around whenever me and you interviewed Victor, whenever we used to go out. He's Brazilian. Nobody has anything bad to say about Brazil. You think samba and girls and ass and meat and fruits and beauty and all happy and all that. Well, it's the contrary for Iran. Like mostly everybody that ever knows anything is usually war and Islam and you know, this and that, like, all these different things that people think about. So whenever we used to go out, I would make sure that he introduces himself first and say that he's Brazilian, because this would bring the vibe up, right? Like if we're talking to some girls or something, this would bring the vibe up. Oh, Brazil! Oh yeah, damn! Oh, that's so cool! I love Brazil. And then, where are you from? It doesn't matter. Or if I have to, I'm from Iran. I'm from, and so if I say I'm from Iran, the vibe was like in zero. It went up for Brazil. It came back to zero for Iran. So now we're still back at our starting point. But if I were to say I'm from Iran, it's already, the vibe is like, oh, Iran, huh? Oh, that's a naughty place. And then he would say he's from Brazil, and he would bring it back to zero. It would be easier to start with him. It would bring the vibe straight back up.
Give me your visions for the future. Like, what are your goals for the future, and what would you like to achieve?
Uh, to be happy, bro. Anything, whatever comes my way. I'm one of these guys that t- every day is a puzzle. Like I said, it's just like I don't know what I'm going to do today. I know I have a meeting at 4, but other than that, I have no idea what I'm going to do today. So it's every day is something new to do or to. I know it sounds cliche. I really know it does sound cliche, but seriously, like I don't know if you're on a computer or on your phone. I'm on my phone. Our phones are our identities. We're pretty much AI by now. From your email to your Instagram to whatever, without your phone, you don't really exist. You don't. None of us do. You can say you do. You can put your phone away for like 2 days, but you got to come back and check because it's progress. It's what life is, and through it, you can do so much. I'm a forex trader, so every day at 9:30 p.m. I'm trading some sort of currency. All right. I get email. I'm a part of model management here in Spain, so they send. Although I don't really like, I'm not into that right now at the moment. Especially like it's the same situation. If I were to do modeling and acting here, it's going to be commercials. It's going to be stuff like so I put my focus on other things. But that's not to say that if they don't send me a role that I enjoy, I'm not going to consider it. You know, like every day brings up new things and new opportunities. It's just that's the way I see it. It's a puzzle. You go out right now, you go to a restaurant, you see a girl you like. I don't know if you have a girlfriend or not. I don't know even if you're straight or not. I think you seem straight. So like, if you see this girl, you like her, right? And she's with a guy, but you already have something in your head. So the next time you see her, she's not with a guy. That's an opportunity. That's just a whole new puzzle right now to find out what happened to that guy, if he still exists, if he doesn't exist. You know, like every day brings something else that makes you go towards a different goal. It's just that's how I see life.
Perhaps the biggest piece of puzzle in your puzzle, like let's say call it your greatest achievement or your biggest victory or the biggest piece in your puzzle.
I
How does
haven't
it
had
look?
that yet. I don't there's no biggest victory. There's always a victory. The first time I did a commercial was the Taxi commercial. And it was me and this guy. And really like when you just when you're done, it takes several hours, but when you're done, you feel like this sense of pride that you have after doing any job well done, right? And but then the more you do it and the more you do it, it just becomes not that because the more you do it, the more your rank is going up because more people want to work with you. But still, that feeling comes down because it just becomes a regular thing. Uh, I don't know how to explain this. It's just like um, there is no like. Would I want to play in a movie? Yeah, of course, I would love to play in a movie. That would be my greatest puzzle right now if it were to come. But what if it's like if it's my 5th movie and that becomes like the greatest movie that then I get to portray my Joker-esque character? That's my biggest puzzle to achieve. At the moment, I made the mask thing work. That was nice. I've done some commercials. I trained some cool people that I really enjoyed. Not like famous people or anything, but like some really nice people that have become my friends. I've traveled around a lot. I'm not done. Like I told you, I still got Brazil and Japan left. Yeah, I don't know. I think I see. I don't think I've had any big puzzles done yet. I don't think this is something I can. I'll get back to you on that.
People and travel play a big role for you. And if you had the opportunity to ask someone a question that you may have a very exclusive opportunity to ask the question, who would you ask the question and what would be the question?
I'd ask The Rock how he does it every day. What's his? What is his motivation? Like, how does he keep going as hard as he does? What's his secret? I guess that would be something that will help me grow. Or I would ask Vince McMahon for a job if I had the opportunity.
But if you had to choose between the two.
I'd ask Vince McMahon for a job.
Okay.
Vince McMahon made The Rock. There would be no Rock if there was no Vince McMahon.
Right.
There would be no... I mean, I think the world would be a lot different without Vince McMahon today.
Let's perhaps switch roles. And do you have a question for me?
What do you want to accomplish with... I mean, we dabbled about this, but what is it that you're looking for? You want to be in the entertainment business. What is it that you're looking to accomplish?
No, well, I don't know, like, as you said, like, I'm not trying to be in any movies, but I mean, if it's good, I remember I was working in the office, and this is like roughly 2 years ago, right? And they announced that they're filming a new Batman, but they're looking for an actor, right? Robert Pattinson is now the new Batman, but at that point there was no announcement that Ben Affleck was going away from the role, and they were looking for a new Batman. And playfully, I was just like, I saw it on my phone. USA Today was posting that, and I was like, I will have to leave the job at the office. I found a new job. I showed them the post, but like, I didn't like initiate it. I didn't like put any effort to actually become that. But hey, if that comes around in my life, that would be awesome. But
you're gonna have to go after it for it to become a reality. You and 5 million other guys want to play that role. You know, like you have to go after. Why not? Like, sign up for something. You never know, bro. You never really know. When I was offered this thing, we were at a restaurant, and my friend was a promoter, and he was supposed to be there to promote this Brazilian restaurant. But the girl manager was this Indian girl, and she was not interested in my friend's like proposal or anything. She kept asking me, "Who are you?" She said, "Who are you?" I said, "I am absolutely nobody." She's like, "No, but you're like, what do you do? Like, are you?" I said, "No, I'm telling you, I'm absolutely not. I'm here for my friend to eat free Brazilian meat. This is why I was there." And she was like, here's my card. Contact Bareface Agency. You can have a career in this. And I, I was like, okay, she's Indian. I look like an Indian actor. I should do. His name is Salman Khan. And like, she's just hitting on me. That's what it is. That's it. And then my friend's like, well, why don't you just try? Because she called him up and it's like, where's Ali? Like, tell Ali to go bareface because they're expecting him. And I'm like, I don't want to be a model. Like, it's like, what you don't, but what about acting and stuff? So that's how it started, really. I went and I said, okay, I'm Ali. And that day I had a shooting for this jewelry commercial. But still, like, it just happened. It just happened like that. You gotta put yourself out there. This is an old man. Well, I'm 10 years older than you. This is an older dude giving you advice. Like, if you don't put yourself out there, you're a smart kid, you're charismatic, and you're passionate about what you do. But that's the easy thing. Having passion for doing something, that's the easy part. It just means you love to do it. And there's thousands, millions of people that love to do it. To succeed at what you love doing, that's the hard part. And if you don't put your eyes, then the first step is putting yourself out there. That's the first part, bro. Do it. If you have passion for something, when you have passion for something, is when you wake up every day wanting to do it. And if you're making your career out of that, then that's a very, very happy life.
I agree. I had several years where I was waking up every day without like any alarms, like, I don't know, like in 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. to just work out. And like, I had this image in my head, but it was a goal that was like a time limited goal and that passed by. But still, there are like athletic goals that I want to achieve, and I'm now currently working on them. Of course, right now, we spoke about this before about the interviews, right? I want to kind of see where this takes me off. And I feel like, you know, I'm kind of not like setting a goal, but like some opportunities arise from doing the interviews, right? And I just feel like you were going there for eating just the meat, right? As you said, and the opportunity just came by, right? And I hope that that comes to me, and I'm not upset that it hasn't come yet, but I feel like you know, effort and work ethic and like just overcoming like things. Like I had like uh, very let's say upsetting experiences as well for some people, maybe that may feel like for someone that they want to quit, but by doing interviews, because like some people like just you know, throw up the interview and just like postpone or don't come up or don't show up. And these are not Zoom interviews where you can just like record on the computer, open your computer and like just, you know, oh, you didn't show up, okay, I'm just work on my emails or whatever the case may be. These are like logistical things that like, oh, I have arranged the room, I have arranged the camera guy, and then someone doesn't show up or the camera guy doesn't show up. But these are things that I have fought, and just, you know, okay, this didn't work, and now I came up with a new solution. So just finding this is how I feel. This whole experience is teaching me so many things, like communication, management, right? Somewhat logistics as well, from that aspect that I told you. So I'm just getting better for this. That's how I feel.
That's good, bro. You should. If you like it, just give it some time and keep learning from it. And eventually it'll come.
I feel like the words that you told me right now can be actually very universal and can be a good advice to anybody, but perhaps you have a good like wishes for everyone, and like good words for everyone to inspire and go at it.
Every day, and it's cliche, but every day is a new day to do something different. If it makes you feeling, if it makes your heart warm, if it's something that you enjoy doing, all you gotta do is put yourself out there. Like that's really it. Like everybody's passionate about something. You gotta be. That's what life is. You get one. Like, I don't know if you believe in religious stuff, in heaven, hell, or reincarnation. I don't. You get one life. Do what makes you happy. And I know that really sounds like a cliche, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be so difficult. You have to love yourself before you can offer what you are to the world. And in order to love yourself, you got to figure out who you are first. And it might take you a very long time. I don't know if I figured out who I am yet, you know, and I'm 34 years old. But I love my life. I enjoy my life very much. And I wish that for everybody, because like, if you don't, you wasted it. Like, really.
Are you still seeking for a passion, or are you just going with the flow? How is that working for you?
I'm open to anything. At the moment, I'm open. I don't know. At this point in my life, I have not lived in South America. I've not lived in Asia. Well, the one that I want. I've not lived in Japan. So I don't know. Yet I can't say it. There's things about Japan that intrigue me. The art, the mentality, the what's it called? I can't remember the word, but like the honor, the history, everything about, like, I really, really enjoy Japanese culture, anime, samurais, like, just, I'm very, very curious about that culture. And with the Brazilian mentality, I am very interested in this. How are they so relaxed? Like, they do not understand that there's COVID in the world. Like, how can they be so happy? The president just a few months ago had a march with like 20,000 people that, fuck COVID, this is not a real thing. And they all got COVID. That is an insane mentality. I want to see how. Why are they so relaxed? It's one of the places that has a very dangerous place. Probably one of the highest dangerous places in the world. But they're so relaxed. How? I don't understand this. I've been to Romania. They're not relaxed. I've been to Colombia. They're not relaxed. But why are Brazilians so relaxed? I really want to find this out for myself firsthand. And you can't do this stuff unless you're living there. You know? When you live somewhere is when you get to actually learn about that place. You can visit anywhere you want as a tourist, but you're not going to know why Germans think the way that they do if you go see the Berlin Wall. You don't understand dry German humor if you go to Oktoberfest. That's when everybody's partying and having fun. That's not Germany, you know? It's for me, I've reached an age where you can tell me anything you want and I will know that as your truth, as like your version, as what you saw. Until I see it with my eyes and experience it for myself, I don't have an opinion. You know, I know your opinion or who this opinion, but I don't have an opinion. That's how I feel. And everybody, I feel like everybody should try to understand that. And it's not hard to change. We feel comfort and we feel security. And we feel like for some reason, we can't recreate this somewhere else. I don't know why. It's human nature to feel scared about the unknown. But I don't know one person that if I take him and drop him off in like Manchester, England, that maybe not the same day, but in a month, in 2, in 3, they haven't survived and they haven't figured out what to do. Even if they had to start right from the bottom and like help at the construction site just to eat, live at a shelter. Yeah, but you're not going to be doing that after a month. You'll figure it out. Everybody does. I don't know. I mean, I'm not talking like I feel bad about like the refugees, the Syrian refugees around the world. Like, I mean, I'm talking to people that hadn't had that bad of a luck in their lifestyle. That you have a passport, you're a citizen of a country that supports you or that at least matters in this world. You have an opportunity to go. And just think about those people who don't have the opportunities and they're just stuck in camps and they can't really do anything with their lives because their country is not really a country because Russia and the United States are fighting over this. Syrians, Lebanese, they're pretty fucked right now. I'm sorry, I swear a lot when I'm with my friends. So you got an opportunity. Everybody complains about like I have this. Man, I'm a kid that with an Iranian passport went to America. They told me that because I'm Iranian, I'm not allowed to come back to Spain because I could, but I could have lost my visa, my student visa, and had to reapply, which is not possible, the F1 visa. So I went to the United States at 20 years old, and I stayed there till 24, traveling around with an Iranian passport. You know, like you could be scared. It's normal to be afraid. Of course it is. But like if you are, and if you let it get over you, then you're never gonna see your potentials. You know, it could have gone the other way. I could have been beaten up to death in Texas. It could have. It didn't. You know.
What do you think is the most important thing in life?
Learning.
Collecting all things, all spectrums of life, everything together.
Learning. Knowledge. Not just what people did before you, like history, but about yourself. Learn about who you are and how you can, what you can do. Not for the world, but unless you love yourself fully and utterly, you don't know who you are. And once you know who you are and you love who you are, then you can offer something to the world. And I mean this about anybody. So that's why I asked you, like, what are you trying to accomplish? That when I train people, this is the first thing I ask them. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? I want to be built. No. What do you want? You want to be skinny? You want to be ripped? You want to be big? Because there's different things. Like we have to every day to make that into a reality. You want to be faster? You want to be stronger? You want to? What do you want? Like it's possible. Everything is possible, but you got to figure out what you want first. When I first got to Dubai, I had no clients. At the end, I had to choose my clients because like I had become like some sort of like a mini celebrity with the commercials and stuff like that. So this was a very important detail to me. What is it that you want? Because unless you tell me, unless you don't know what you want, and you can't tell me what you want, I can't help you. This is my philosophy. You can do whatever you want, but you gotta have a goal first. You gotta say like, all right, I want. Okay, that I can understand that you want to be a sports broadcaster. In what? General, on ESPN, in your country? What do you like? First, you have to understand what it is you want, and then it becomes simple. And that's how I've always seen life. I have to make it to America. Why? Because I want to be a professional wrestler, and that's where it exists. All right, where's the closest wrestling school to where I can go? Boston, New Hampshire. All right, I got to go to Boston. It becomes way simpler, like structured. Once you know what you want, you can go after it. And then eventually you'll either get there or you'll find different ways to go a different way.
Well, I say thank you about these words to you. Actually, it was a big pleasure to talk to you. Very interesting conversation, I feel like we had. And I say thank you to, man. Like, and hope you find new things that you haven't even expected and find passion in them as well.
I appreciate it, and I hope to watch you grow within this interview thing. You're a charismatic kid. I really enjoyed this. It was my pleasure.
Thank you for watching this interview with Ali. I hope you find this interview interesting, and as Ali mentioned, I hope also you find love and true happiness within yourself. But if you haven't found that, I hope some way, somehow, I'm helping you to find that through these interviews. So I hope you will enjoy watching also the recommended interview with Sandra Gasparini and Victor, who's Ali's good friend from Brazil, who's a jiu-jitsu master. So I hope you enjoyed those interviews as well as some other interviews in the playlist, and I wish you all the best.